Chris Cuomo here. Welcome to NewsNation, where right and left come to be reasonable. And let me try a different approach tonight. I'm not criticizing anybody else. Let me just put it this way. My advice to all the players involved in the administration and the opposition to the administration: don't be me. I have an amazing ability. Two, actually. A good one and a horrible one. The good one is that I have almost a superpower when it comes to picking friends. I am blessed with being able to draw better people around me. You see it with, Dusty and the team and the people, who are here in the satellite studio and my friends. I'm blessed with amazing men and women in my life who love me despite me and inspire me to be better. And I'm not even talking about my family, the people who've chosen to spend their life with me. Now, the other ability I have is terrible. I have an amazing penchant for not knowing when to stop digging. Make a mistake, fight it, don't like the correction, try to rationalize it, compound it with how I cover up for it, repeating mistakes by not learning the lesson. I am addicted to the hard way, and so, it seems, are our leaders. Epstein-gate is totally unnecessary. And doubling down by trying to create a bigger scandal that makes other people look worse is so ugly and obvious. I feel bad for DNI Gabbard, releasing more documents today that just take us in another circle. Why didn't AG Bondi release documents today? All they keep telling us is they got 300 gigabytes, whatever that is. I don't even know what size that is. I'm old. Why not release things? Just release things. Grand jury testimony is not easy to get. I know all these people on social media are saying, where is it? They're not lawyers. They're not sophisticated. They're just selling hate and provocation, okay? It's not easy to get grand jury testimony. You're going to have to fight for it. You're going to have to make the case. I'm not surprised by what happened in court the last couple of days. But why not Bondi? Why not Patel? They have tons of files. This tremendous volume of material. Just start putting it out. Going back to Russiagate is good for no one. Russia meddled with our politics. They still are. They're doing to foment our tensions, and it's working. And there were differing opinions within the intelligence community about what they were doing and why. But that's what happens. And certain arguments won out. Maybe they were the wrong arguments. I don't know that. We don't know. Certainly Gabbard has not made that case to any compelling degree. And remember, she doesn't have to. She can say whatever she wants. She refers it to the DOJ. They have to make the case. And I think that the DOJ is where this all goes to die, personally. But we'll see what happens. The idea that anything the IC did was calculated to hamstring President Trump seems like a reach, let alone grounds for treason or asking to prosecute a former president. Really? Have we learned nothing from all the lawfare that happened to President Trump? Now he wants to, do more than was done to him? It feels like they said, take everything about Epstein that's bad for us and double it and blame it on Obama and the Clintons. And that's exactly what's happening. They are smearing political opponents that they know MAGA likes as a target, hoping that that will allow MAGA to take the bullseye off the Epstein files. Here is the new cell.
There were high-level DNC emails that detailed evidence of Hillary's, quote, psycho-emotional problems, uncontrolled fits of anger, aggression, and cheerfulness, and that then Secretary Clinton was allegedly on a daily regimen of heavy tranquilizers. Then CIA Director Brennan and the intelligence community mischaracterized intelligence and relied on dubious substandard sources to create a contrived false narrative that Putin developed a, quote-unquote, clear preference for Trump.
I mean, honestly, I'm sure there are some of you that find that interesting. One, we don't even know any of this. She's reading it like it's facts. You know where she's getting it from? Russian compromat from Russian intelligence. You're going to believe them? You don't think they have any incentive to lie to you? Remember, just a few weeks ago, the president said he didn't care what DNI Gabbard thought. And by the way, I thought that was disrespectful. And I look at Tulsi and I feel like she's like this administration's Colin Powell and how they threw him under the bus and made it seem honorable for him to jump on the grenade of yellow cake and all that BS during the Bush administration. That's what this is. This is just smoke trying to distract from actual fire. And doubling down by going to the DOJ to prosecute Obama, really? Look, put out whatever you have about Epstein and fight for the grand jury testimony, fight for the redacted documents. Look, this was not like a lot of other Trumpy promises. Only I can fix it. Here are all these suggestions that a pie in the sky, I'm going to build a wall across the country. All the hyperbole. This is not hyperbole in as much as it's not wrong for people to say, well, you told me that powerful people got away with sexually abusing kids. And even if I was dumb enough to believe Pizzagate, you told me I'm right about this and that you would prove it when you got in there. You told me that it was true and that you could show me. Well, now you have to. And I know you can't show that because obviously the DOJ didn't have any interest in not going after people. Epstein didn't have any interest in not getting himself out of trouble. Oh, that's why they killed him. Then why is Maxwell alive? Certainly she has every interest in divulging. Oh, yeah, that's why she's coming forward now. No, it isn't. So just put out what you have. It won't go away because it's not just a political device. This matters. And it should matter. And I don't believe there's a client list. And I don't believe that Epstein was murdered. But I do believe you have a responsibility to put things out. And we are done with Russiagate. You want to send it to the DOJ? You want to take us down that hole after the ugly distraction that this administration had to live through the first time, which was unnecessary, which tore the country apart. And this is only doing more of it. That's my take, okay? I have not seen anything yet to make me consider that there's a story that's worth telling about the intelligence community and Russia and that there's anything criminal. I haven't seen it yet. We'll see what the DOJ comes up with. But on Epstein, it's so obvious. This is so simple. Put out everything you can. Is it going to be satisfying to everybody? No. So what? So what? Let's discuss what should be going on with the Justice Department. I'm sure it's going to be taken seriously by a lot of people, especially on the right, and how we get past all this noise. Two better minds, okay? Journalist, best-selling author, Bill O'Reilly. Democratic strategist, legend, James Carville. Gentlemen, thank you for coming in tonight to help me. Bill, to me, this is such a layup. I don't care about Epstein the way a lot of other people do. I don't think there's a client, we talk all the time. But just put out whatever you can. Just show that you're just putting it out. Just put it out. What am I missing about this?
Well, I'm going to scold you for conflating the two stories about the Russian collusion and Epstein. They're two separate stories. And I don't think they're linked in any way. All right?
They're just linked in terms of timing and convenience. Substantively, they're not connected.
They're not connected for the American people. Okay? They're two different situations. So the Tulsi Gabbard drop of classified information that's now declassified. The headline in there is that John Brennan, former director of the CIA, is in trouble. And I believe he will be indicted. And the telling part of this is that, and this is, I'm quoting from the report from the Select Committee on Intelligence, the House Select Committee, is that Brennan knowingly, all right, published 3 reports containing information that was, quote, unclear, of uncertain origin, potentially biased or implausible. If that's true, and we need to give Mr. Brennan due process, he's going to be charged.
Well, you also need to prove
So they'll present that evidence in front. They'll present the evidence in front of a grand jury. Now the others, Comey and it's not quite as clear. Mm-hmm. So Brennan has the big exposure here. All right. Now Comey, it's how much he knew about what Brennan was doing, and I can't answer that question. That, again, has to be investigated. So that's the headline in the Tulsi Gabbard situation. The headline in Epstein is from the latest Wall Street Journal article published tomorrow. It's on the internet now, which says that the Justice Department has some kind of folder. The Journal tried to describe it as a leather-bound folder. Within the folder are, quote, hundreds of names associated with Epstein. Hundreds, okay? None of whom are under investigation at this time. No one.
Right.
Therefore, they can't let that out. Because if they did, the federal government would be sued for billions of dollars. Because if you attach any name to Jeffrey Epstein at this point in time, the person attached is going to get hurt, even if they're not under investigation, and nothing to do with it, or whatever. And that goes for President Trump as well. So I just finished watching CNN, and I'm sorry to take Carville's time, and I'm interested to hear what he has to say. I just watched CNN, and it's a race to the bottom over there. They're using tabloid people now, disgusting, awful human beings who come in, and they're trying to tell their audience at CNN that Trump was somehow involved in molestation. That's what they're trying to weave over there. It's horrible, based on nothing, okay? So that's what's going on. I'm pleased to be here on NewsNation to clarify the record.
Look, until I see otherwise, I don't have any reason to believe that it's anything other than the obvious. Of course, Trump knew Epstein. They were friends for a long time. They had a falling out. They both said that to multiple people, that they had a falling out over how Epstein conducted himself, not this criminality. But look, if they can put something else out, fine. But the innuendo is just getting us nowhere. Jimmy, this is my problem with this.
That's right.
I differ with Bill. Look, Tulsi Gabbard hasn't unearthed any new information. This came from a Republican-only drafted report. It's an opinion, the Russiagate stuff.
No,
and they're
it
going to give it
wasn't.
to the
Schiff.
It was a Republican-only report.
No. This came from the House Intel Committee, where Schiff was the chairman. It didn't come from Republicans.
Right, but
No,
the committee
this was
report
a
that she's talking
bipartisan
about was
report.
drafted by Republicans. But the report that came out wound up confirming what the IC said. All I'm saying is, Bill, it doesn't take us anywhere. It's just a distraction. I'm not saying substantively it's connected to Epstein.
I wouldn't want to be John
but it's
Brennan
done, James.
tonight.
Well, look, I wouldn't want to be him either, because when the government comes after you, you generally lose. But, James, we know what's going on here. Is there an opportunity in this for Democrats to do more than go on the flames?
First of all, let me put an end to all this nonsense. The Senate Intelligence Committee in 2016, headed by Marco Rubio, bipartisan, unanimously said Russia tried to interfere on behalf of Trump. What are we arguing about? All right, the Mueller report said that. This is idiotic. Let's just call it what it is. And please fact check me. Please do that. Okay, and then let's put this aside. This is all nonsense. All right, complete utter nonsense. That's been spelled 100 times. Of course, Russia tried to interfere. Of course, it tried to interfere on behalf of Trump. We know that. What are we arguing about? Who won the Civil War? I mean, there's some things that just we know. All right, we're
distracting. We're distracting from Epstein. That's what we're doing, and it's a little effective. It's not going to take the bullseye off Epstein and those files.
I don't know what happened with Epstein. I'm like anybody else. I'm curious. I'm suspicious. Okay, it seems, it seems fishy to me. But I know that Russia tried to interfere in the 2016 election. I know that. I've been told that by a bipartisan committee in the United States Senate that was headed up by the current Secretary of State. I don't know what Tulsi Gabbard, what she's even talking about. But we have enough that we can discuss, like how they're cutting the budget to combat human trafficking and underage sex trafficking. That's something that I do know. And that's something that's currently going on. And I know that that's a problem. I know that we already know what happened with Russia interference.
Right, I'm with you.
Right, I'm going to fact check. Can I fact check, James?
Go ahead.
Absolutely.
Can I fact check? He wants to be fact checked.
Absolutely.
Look, I want to give James Carville anything that he wants, and he asked to be fact checked, so here I am. Okay. The Senate report okay, Marco Rubio, was 2 years before the House intel report, number one. The Senate report said that Putin tried to meddle in the election, which is true. The House report upped it to discombobulating the Russian collusion whereby Putin's minions met with Donald Trump Jr., had people inside the Trump campaign, had a coordinated effort. That's a lot different than meddling. Two different reports, 2 years apart, way different conclusions. But it
I know,
is
but
the
Bill,
same
hold on, guys,
Okay, can I get
yeah, but hold on. In
sorry.
2018 March, the report that came out from the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence was drafted solely by the Republican majority. That is the fact. Now, I'm not discounting their findings. I'm just saying that, Bill, this is a headline searching for a story. That's all. And I get the distraction. I just don't know why the president doesn't lean into better things for him.
Can I ask one question? Did the Mueller report
sure.
come out after the Republican, not bipartisan, the Republican 2018 report? Give me the timeline. Did Mueller come out after that? Because we know the bipartisan committee in 2016 said that Russia tried to intervene on Trump's behalf. We know the Mueller report said that. They said it didn't rise to the level of indicting him for collusion. We already know that. We're arguing whether the earth is
Mueller
round.
Mueller was before the House committee that was the Republican majority report.
All right. So Mueller and the bipartisan committee says, and all we
It
have
started
is,
before, and it
Well, let me repeat.
Mueller was 2017. The House report was 2018. Mueller concluded in 2019.
Okay, Mueller concluded. All right, so he concluded the report. The earth is round,
Yes.
people.
I want you guys-
Russia tried to
Cuomo.
intervene on Trump's behalf.
Yeah.
Period. End of story. I'm just not going to
Cuomo.
argue.
We got to take
Yeah,
a
but-
break. I have to run the show now. We got to take a break, but I want you to, the report that Tulsi, oh, no break, it does, all right. The report that Tulsi Gabbard declassified, all right, my notes, and I could be wrong here, was on September 18th, 2020. That's when it was released. There are a lot of reports. But I think that we're getting lost in the weeds here, okay? Because there's just too much coming at the audience. One report said that Putin tried to meddle. True. The other report said the director of the CIA knowingly used phony stuff, okay, to try to get
Yeah, that's what the
warrants
Republicans wrote.
and other things. Okay, but
That's-
Schiff signed off on it.
I
was
don't
the
know that he
committee
signed off on it. It
chair.
was written by the Republican majority.
He
I
had
doubt he
to.
signed off on it.
He had to.
So he didn't.
I think they put out
He
their own
had to
version.
sign off on it.
But look, either way, Bill, I'm just saying this. You
If
say too
Tulsi
much is
put out
coming
the
at the
wrong
audience.
version, you got a big scoop.
No.
Okay.
Other than MAGA, other than
look-
ultra MAGA, who cares about any of this? If you live in Indiana, if you live in Louisiana,
Yes.
you're worried about the tariffs. You're worried a little bit about what's happening with the ICE policy. You're worried about your national security and whether jihadists are coming for us again. Nobody's worried about any of
That's
this
why
BS.
Trump
I
is
don't
so
know
mad.
why.
That-
I don't know why, but
That's
he's
why
continuing
Trump
it.
is so angry. That's why Trump is so angry. You and Trump are simpatico. He's going, are you kidding me? I just made a great deal with Japan. The stock market's
Right.
up 500 points to the highest
Right.
level.
So
and
talk
all
about that.
CNN and MSNBC, the Wall Street Journal, and everybody else can do is try to drag me into Epstein. So
So
you
pull a
are
Carville.
agreeing that Trump has an excellent point here, correct?
Pull a Carville and talk about the economy. That's what affects everybody in the majority in this country. Talk about
But
the
he-
economy.
every time
You're
pre-
gonna.
Every time Trump is out there in a press conference, it's all he's getting is Epstein. But there is one very important story here that everybody is overlooking, and that is, did the Wall Street Journal publish a phony card allegedly sent by Donald Trump? There is a lawsuit, a federal lawsuit, followed by,
Yeah, I had the guy on
filed by
last
the
night.
president. Okay,
Yeah, I had the guy on
that's
last
a
night, Jimmy.
huge
Jimmy.
story.
It is, but Jimmy,
That is
did you ever think
huge.
you'd see a day? that Trump would sue Rupert Murdoch and Fox News or, News Corp?
It's not going. He did that just like he sued Bob Woodward. That suit will never get to discovery. For God's sakes, man, I'm 80 years old. I don't want to argue that the earth is round. I know it's round. I don't want to argue that gravity is real. I know it's real. I don't want to argue that Russia interfered in 2016 election on Trump's behalf because I know they did. Okay, if we can argue about some factual dispute, but I know gravity, I know the earth is round, and I know Russia tried to interfere.
We've moved on.
Yep,
We've moved on. This is him. This is him suing his buddy.
He's not. He sues everybody.
Well, somebody, listen.
This suit will.
You can move on all you want.
I'm sorry.
You can move on all you want, but somebody's not telling the truth. Somebody
interrupted me.
Is look.
Hold on,
somebody.
Jimmy, make your point, and then I'm going to let Bill end the segment. Yeah, that's true. Somebody's lying. Somebody's lying. No question about it. That's why it'll never get to discovery. That's why it'll never get to discovery. But James, make a last point for us.
Look, we know what happened in 2016. We know that there's a lot that we don't know about the Epstein stuff. We know people are trying to keep certain facts. I find it impossible to believe, but if you want to, you certainly could believe this, that a news organization like the Wall Street Journal would print a story unless they checked, rechecked, verified, fact-checked it to no end. And I know that this will never reach discovery. I know that. I would bet anybody any amount of money that Trump, and he just sues, and just like he sued Bob Woodward, the court's going to throw it out.
No.
It's
too much. There's too much risk.
Bill, I want to give you a last word, but I will remind the audience of this. I must disclose this. The president, as far as I'm concerned, when he was Citizen Trump, I was sent a letter, and this can be verified. I don't know why I threw this letter out. This is how stupid I am. Where it was clearly written by President Trump, but it was on his lawyer's letterhead. And he threatened to sue me for a story I did about his net worth, where he didn't just sue me, Jimmy. He didn't just sue my parent company. He sued my parents for giving birth to me.
And he won.
That's what the letter said. I almost got stuck. Back in the oven.
and he sued the priest that baptized you. Okay, so everybody got called in.
All right, Bill, give us the last word.
Keep your eye on this media story because it's very important. I do a YouTube channel. I hope you got one, Carville. It's youtube.com/Bill O'Reilly.
I do.
We just passed one.
They bought my movie and aired it. I still got a lot of friends.
Yes, they did.
Okay.
But I don't care. I'm not mad.
We just passed. I can't get a word in here. We just passed 1 million subscribers after 3 months, which is unbelievable. And a lot of it has to do with NewsNation. I appreciate you putting me on. And then my book, Confronting Evil. All right. And you two guys were considered, but I did not put you in the book. It'll be out September 9th. You can pre-order.
Well, Hunter Biden put me in.
BillO'Reilly.com.
Hunter Biden,
I'm sending you the audio
nest I'm leaving alone. Hunter Biden, I'll leave alone. I've had enough of that too. Bill O'Reilly, thank you. Jimmy Carville, always a pleasure. I'm just tired of all the BS, man. We got real stuff to talk about in this country. We don't got to make it up. I'll talk to you later. Look, Jimmy's already out of here. 4 minutes and 35 seconds. Look, what's the big thing? By the way, I'm not sick. I'm sweating because I had fire. I was training for the fire department. Look, it's not Epstein. It's not Russiagate. It's not the deep state. We have problems that division have fomented, and we have fundamentalists and people in our country who are citizens like you and me who want to hurt us and destroy our way of life. Just today, we learned that New York City came very close to another massive terror attack. At least 7 homemade bombs placed across the city, including subways and one of our most traveled bridges. All right? I asked to get the NYPD chief, the #1 uniformed officer, to come in and talk to us about what's going on in the city. And I want to talk to him about being a sanctuary city. Next. we're hurting ourselves. That's the theme. We're hurting ourselves. We're doing it with the competing Epstein and the Russiagate and the Cleveland, all these bad things, all these divisive things. We're hurting ourselves. And why do you think we're seeing more homegrown terror? Because this is all poisonous. Today we learned New York City came very close to a site of a massive terror attack. A 55-year-old guy, just like me, named Michael Gann, indicted for making homemade IEDs. And by the way, those things can work, okay? It's not easy. It's not hard to make something that can kill people real easy. And he had multiple ones that he just basically ordered up online, bomb-making materials, potassium, perchlorate, and other things that work very easy and are very deadly. He wanted to put them in the subways. He wanted to put them on the Williamsburg Bridge, that connects us to Brooklyn. 90,000 people a day go over that, right? Just before his arrest on June 5th, he posted on Instagram, who wants to go out and play like no tomorrow? I'm telling you, this is the extremism. This is the talk. And then people decide to walk the talk. I really wanted to talk to the head of the NYPD, the top uniform guy, Chief of Department, John Chell. Hey, Chief, thank you so much for joining us.
How are you, man? My pleasure. My pleasure.
Thank you for keeping us safe.
No, this is what we do. But to your point, this is very scary what could have happened on the night of June 5th. This encapsulates a few things here. This is a lone wolf. These are the hardest people to find, the people in the basement apartment, people in the garage. And his roommate saw something and said something, right? So let's walk it through. The roommate saw something, said something. He went with his first thought. He notifies Nassau County. Nassau County is quick, and the communication between the NYPD and our Joint Terrorist Task Force, this happened rapidly. And that speed of who he was and how we had to capture him quickly in Lower Manhattan by our Joint Terrorist Task Force, the IEDs you mentioned he had, placing them on rooftops, putting one on the Willie B by the train tracks, we averted a disaster. And what's scary about this is he's 55 years old. He's a little bit of an unassuming bottom feeder, if you will. He was a lone wolf. And he was also looking into making chlorine bombs. How do we get guns? He was going to take this further. So we averted a disaster. But again, we say it all the time, right, Chris? See something, say something. Go with your first thought. Tell a cop. And the apparatus built up in the intelligence world that we have now post 9/11 is tremendous, nationally and worldwide. And you saw it play out right on that night.
Thank God. But you only got to miss it once, and we have a disaster on our hands. It's amazing that you guys keep us safe the way you do. Now, I want to ask you something. Coming from a position of absolute respect, and I have very high regard for first responders, I want to talk to you about sanctuary cities. Here's the case, Chief. You guys, as a sanctuary city, you made a choice to be a sanctuary city to basically create the migrant problem by defying federal authorities. And all you got to do is make a different choice and change it back, and then everything's going to be fine, and you can work with the federal authorities again. What do you make of that suggestion that's aimed at you and New York City?
Well, first of all, it's not fair right now because sanctuary city's been around since Ed Koch, and it's been changed multiple times throughout the years. And the onus and the responsibility lies directly on our city council. The mayor, Eric Adams, he can't just come in and sign an executive order and say, okay, we're done with this. Doesn't work like that. He inherited this through many generations of mayors, and he's openly said for the last couple of years, we have openly said, look, sanctuary city status, the majority of migrants here are good, hardworking, honest people. Give them a path, no problem. But the small minority that came in to do the opposite of the great migrants and take advantage of us, that's what we've been saying in terms of they have to go. And if we can just tweak a little bit the sanctuary city laws in terms of detainers, what happened over the weekend, I think most practical people say, yeah, he's right. So we inherited this, the mayor inherited this, he can't change it. So it's up to the city council to come together as a collective and do what's right to keep this city safe.
Hey, Chief, does being a sanctuary city make your job easier or harder?
Well, it makes it harder because it's frustrating because we're about public safety. All the crimes that we'll use the two perpetrators, if you will, from this weekend, all the crimes they were committing. We talk about numbers all the time. These are people. That was a Border Patrol officer in the park, but he was a New Yorker in the park enjoying a nice night in Riverside Park. He shouldn't have to deal with that. Nobody else should. So in terms of public safety, yeah, it's frustrating because my friends, my family, your friends, your family, we're all in this together. And that's the frustrating piece.
You know, it's interesting to hear your perspective on how, you know, to hear a cop say, let alone the top cop, that, yeah, you broke the law coming in here, but it doesn't mean that you're all bad. That is not shared by the federal government right now. The president, we've heard talk about it both ways. But from a policing perspective, I want to hear you articulate that. They come in illegally. First time it's a misdemeanor. Second time it's a felony. And how do you see criminality among migrants? How do you view it?
Well, what I view, what we've been primarily dealing with here, and you've seen this, we've talked about it ad nauseum. Let's just say crimes committed on mopeds skyrocketed, 287% from 21 to 24. We've seen it play out over and over. We saw it play out Saturday. So again, a small minority. There is a gang element attached to that, no doubt about it. And we've worked with our federal. See, we can work with our federal partners criminally all the time. We do it every day. We couldn't live without them. They can't live without us. And we've kept this city safe. So again, I'll say it again. We know it's a small minority who came here just to take advantage of us, if you will. But the vast majority are good, hardworking, honest people. And the humanities side says, sure, no problem.
Chief, you've been doing this a long time. You're a real one, as we say in New York City.
I'm a Brooklyn guy, Chris.
Yeah, I know. I don't hold that against you. My mother's from Brooklyn.
Well,
you know,
I'm
from Queens.
I'm in Staten Island now, so I can't offend my Staten Islanders either. So more Brooklyn, but a little Staten Island.
Of course you are. That's Copland, Staten Island. Let me ask you this, though. In terms of the quality and nature of the job, has it ever been, in your experience, more challenging to be a law enforcement officer than it is today with what you guys have to deal with? I've
been doing this 32 years. Post-2020, it's been just a complete shift in policing, and it's really, you know, defund the police, changes in laws, our staffing is down thousands. It's just, and then you couple October 7th, 6,000 protests, 250,000 migrants, 8.5 million people, 24/7, 365, and it's challenging. But you know, I'm a little biased, obviously, when I say, you know, we got the best 34,000 plus cops in this world, and they're regular people that just want to do their job and protect the city. They don't ask for much, and quite frankly, in 2025 compared to 2020, when everything changed as far as we're concerned, they've done a great job in kind of turning the ship and shifting. And hopefully we could stay in that posture and keep a movement, because it's all about public safety. This city will not prosper without public safety. You don't have public safety, you don't have a city. End of story.
Hey, listen, it is the main thing I hear all the time. It's the #1 concern in New York City right now. Chief, you're always welcome here on NewsNation to tell people what they need to know. Thank you for keeping us safe.
No, it's a pleasure. And I know you got some good neighbors out there, but that lawyer guy, the bald lawyer out there, I don't know about him.
Arthur Idala?
I didn't say the name.
The guy whose head looks like a...
You said the name. I didn't say the name.
Looks like a big toe?
He dresses very...
Oh, there's only one guy.
He dresses very well, though. As a big toe, he dresses very well.
He has to. When you got a head like that, you got to dress great, Chief. That's how it is. He's not good looking like us. We could wear anything.
No doubt
Chief
about
John
it.
Chell, thank you very much. Take care. Who is already going to be angry? 4 minutes and 30 seconds. I guess it's going to be dinner on me. Arthur, I love you. You know that. I love you. You got a beautiful head. How would any of us handle being face to face with the man who caused you the most unimaginable pain for any human being, which is what? Taking your kid. Taking your kid in a horrible way. Can you imagine being at that Kohberger sentencing today as one of the family members of those kids who were massacred by this bastard? What they said is so telling about how people are affected by crime. You're going to want to hear this. NewsNation's Brian Entin was in the courtroom. He's never heard anything like what he did today. Next.
The truth is, they're as dumb as they come. Stupid, clumsy, slow, sloppy, weak, dirty.
All right, let me bring in senior correspondent Brian Entin. So you and I have seen a lot of these. You say, no, not like today. at the Brian Kohberger sentencing. What made it different? What did you learn? And what do we need to hear?
Yeah, Chris, I don't think I've ever been in a room this emotionally charged and this just heartbreaking. It was terrible. Most of the family members were there. They finally had the chance to give their impact statements. And what was so sort of stunning is that most of them addressed Brian Kohberger, looked him right in the eyes, including the surviving roommates. Dylan, she was there. Bethany had a friend there to read a statement. Listen to what they had to say.
I have not slept through a single night since this happened. I constantly wake up in panics, terrified. Someone is breaking in, or someone is here to hurt me, or I'm about to lose someone else that I love.
He didn't just take their lives. He took the light they carried it into every room. He took away how they made everyone feel safe, loved, and full of joy. He chose destruction. He chose evil.
Boy, you know, we've
That's
always
Dylan,
wanted
Chris,
to hear how they processed it. Yeah. That was really powerful to hear from them because we haven't. And then, what did you hear on the family side?
Yeah, on the family side, they were obviously just hysterical, many of them. We found out that before the sentencing, they got an update from prosecutors with new information. There's new documents that came out that we now have that they heard about yesterday. I mean, Xana was stabbed 50 times, Chris, 50 stab wounds. Kaylee Goncalves was stabbed 20 times, and her face was unrecognizable. So this is the kind of information that the families learned about the day before this sentencing, and so you can imagine they were emotionally charged. Look at this.
Inevitably, you will stand before our Lord and will have to answer to him over the sins you have committed in murdering our children.
I went through a lot of issues with addiction and with substance abuse, and when I wasn't wanting to live anymore, she was what would keep me.
I have forgiven you. And anytime you want to talk and tell me what happened, get my number. I'm here. No judgment.
Police officers tell us within minutes they had your DNA, like a calling card. You were that careless, that foolish, that stupid.
I don't know what my limits are here, but I'm really struggling, dude. I am struggling, so I want to just be out in the woods with you just so I can teach you about loss and pain.
While I'm disappointed the firing squad won't get to take their shots at you, I'm confident that the men in prison will have their way with you in more ways than one. You will finally get what you wanted, physical touch. Just probably not how you were expecting it. You may have received A's in high school and college, but you're gonna be getting big D's in prison. The truth is, you're as dumb as they come. Stupid, clumsy, slow, sloppy, weak, dirty. You want the truth? Here's the one you'll hate the most. If you hadn't attacked them in their sleep, in the middle of the night, like a pedophile, Kaylee would have kicked your fucking ass.
The time has now come to end Mr. Kohberger's 15 minutes of fame.
I gotta tell
That
you,
was
Brian,
Kaylee's sister who you heard there. Sorry, go ahead, Chris, yeah?
Yeah, no. I mean, listen, I mean, she's so powerful, so angry. You know, this is so unsatisfying on one level for them, I'm sure. But to stare at that guy who registers nothing with all of this coming at him, how did that strike you?
Yeah, and Steve Goncalves, Kaylee's dad, moved the podium to really have a look at him. Kaylee's sister, Olivia, you saw there. I mean, it was eye-to-eye contact the entire time. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like that. And I think what was so disturbing is Kohberger, Chris, showed zero emotion, just like the other times. There were a couple of times I leaned in to look and he was like almost moving his jaw around a little bit, but I think it was more of just like a nervous twitch. He wasn't even like nodding to sort of show that he was listening. He was just staring straight ahead. And I think the families wanted him to show some level of remorse. I think that's why they were saying some of those things. They wanted to get a rise out of him for once. They wanted to see something, but there was nothing.
You know, one of the things that you and I struggle with when we're trying to understand what humanity is capable of is the line between sick and bad. Because part of you says to do these kinds of things, there's got to be some kind of illness at play. But sometimes people are just evil and have a darkness in them. And this guy just reeks of it. He really does. And I feel for those families. I hope there was some measure of some kind of solace, something that hints towards closure for them and knowing that this part is done.
Yeah, and imagine having to stand face to face with the person who killed your kid or the person who killed your friend, and you're looking them in the eye during that speech. The strength is unbelievable of these friends and family. And there's frustration. We don't know the motive. The police finally had a news conference. Remember the gag order, Chris? We got zero information for the last 2.5 years. Today, they answered all of our questions. They don't know the motive. They don't know why he went to that house. They don't know if there was a specific target in the house. They have no idea where the knife is. They have no idea where his clothing is from that day. They did say they don't believe there was another murder weapon used, which Kaylee Goncalves' family has a different theory on, but they really don't know much more than what we saw initially in the probable cause affidavit.
He'll talk. This guy's going to talk, and I hope it's to you. Brian, thank you very much for your coverage of this. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah. And, just one quick note as we go to break, 4 minutes and 15 seconds. You people who are on social media saying that it wasn't him and the police don't know this, shut up. Think about if it was your family. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. You got enough clicks. When we come back, I got a bolo for you, and it is scary, and it is proof that we need things to change. I promise you, this one you're not going to see coming. Next. This disgusts me, this bolo. Be on the lookout, cop term. I think this is the most dangerous thing that can happen in America. You know why we don't see here what's plaguing Europe when it comes to radical Islamist disruption? Because America is a melting pot. Here, you assimilate. You don't get to, you get to do you, okay? But you've got to join in. You got to speak the language. You got to go to the same schools. You got to go to the stores. We have mixed communities, okay? We have our problems, but we learned separate is never equal. Do we have equality right? Integration right? No. Are there equal levels of income, education, opportunity? No, but that's the experiment. And the goal is to get the most of collaboration, for diversity to be the key to the whole, so that the whole exceeds the sum of its parts. This is essential for America. This is the sine qua non. Without this, nothing. This is our success until now. All this division, all this extremism, I'm telling you, it's taking a toll. Fringe operators are trying to change who we are. First, it was an all-Muslim 1,000-home community in Texas. Significant and voluble rejection of that idea, and that was a good thing. But now there's another one, and it's not getting the attention it deserves. Deep in the Arkansas Ozarks, a group called Return to the Land is actively building whites-only neighborhoods. You got to prove your European ancestry. Of course, no Jews allowed, as if you needed more proof that Jews were never really considered white. The group symbol, kind of culty. Looks kind of like a swastika if you kind of go through it. And the group has strong ties to far-right activist groups. And they want to expand whites-only neighborhoods in Missouri. So now it's, well, what about the law? Okay, the Fair Housing Act, 1968. But there's a loophole. They're not selling land, so they get around that. And we saw something similar in Texas with the Muslim thing, where they were not having to follow it the same way in terms of discrimination. They just had to change their marketing materials a little bit. Now, this is just bad. Legally, the DOJ investigated, but them changing the marketing material made it okay. So here's the thing. Even if they have the legal right, that does not make this right. You can't love America if you hate anyone who's unlike you. Proof that hate and bias is the same no matter the flavor. The Muslims and the whites have strikingly similar missions. The whites-only group is, fairly blunt. We'll promote strong families with common ancestry. We help our members form European heritage communities. Like any of you even speak any language from your European derivation, you mutts. And the Muslim groups say, our mission is to build a vibrant and inclusive community that caters to the evolving needs of families in the Muslim community. I mean, this is anathema to America. Our tradition of diversity matters. We are fingers on a hand. Okay? It can ball up into a fist at a moment's notice to fight any foe we encounter, and that is our strength. The more the hand opens, the more the fingers spread, the weaker we are. Now, I'm worried about this. I'm worried about the toll of the talk. It is toxic and contagious. And look, you don't need me to tell you that thoughts can become things, okay? You don't need me to tell you that, well, just because they're just saying something, it will never lead to anything. Most actions start off with words that lead to things. I'm telling you, it's where we're going. And that's why I started this show where I'm going to end it. Learn, people in power. Stop doubling down on bad things and division.